She is pretty, I guess. But it isn't me, is it?
Between a director that refused to stop shooting, a cheap wig that sealed its wearer's fate, and multiple conversations with a ghost, was Ana De Armas' approach to playing Marilyn Monroe an obsession or a possession? Let's start with a quick summary so we can get to the ghost as fast as possible.
What did you say about a ghost?
Blonde is a 2022 movie based on the book by Joyce Carol Oates that's a fictionalized version of Marilyn Monroe's life. It hits the classic, well-documented beats of the story, but it adds in a few artistic choices.
You're not the same baby.
That was me. It's always me.
Director Andrew Dominik considered Jessica Chastain and Naomi Watts for the role of Marilyn, before deciding on Cuban actress Ana De Armas. And as every single late-night host loves reminding her,
I did not think that you looked like her.
Who knew that Ana De Armas looked like Marilyn Monroe?
Not me.
but De Armas was determined to prove her worth, even if it meant auditioning for 7 months, doing her own personal research, and making a hasty purchase that changed everything.
How much time do you think you need? And I was like, well, forever. But for now, I guess I just need a couple weeks. So I did that, and I showed up with a very bad blonde wig and some kind of like Marilyn makeup type of thing. And I did it.
Hey, bad wigs have never stopped a good thing from getting made in this town. When De Armas read the final version of the now NC-17 rated script, she called it nothing short of a horror story, which makes it fitting that a certain ghost helped her hone her iconic performance. While a lot of the plot elements in Blonde veer wildly from the truth, many of the film's set pieces are from Marilyn Monroe's real life. Filming started on August 4th in Monroe's Brentwood mansion, 52 years to the day since her death in that very location. Before shooting, De Armas and members of the cast and crew made a pilgrimage to the nearby cemetery where Monroe is interred. In an interview with another magazine, De Armas describes the encounter. We got this big card and everyone in the crew wrote a message to her. We were asking for permission in a way. Everyone felt a huge responsibility, and we were very aware of the side of the story we were going to tell. The story of Norma Jean, the person behind this character, Marilyn Monroe. Who was she really? De Armas says that the sense of the late actress' presence stayed with her during filming, sometimes literally.
She was happy, but she would also throw things off the wall sometimes and get mad when she didn't like something.
De Armas also describes having conversations with Monroe via dream work, meaning she was never really out of the role even when she was asleep.
What were you thinking of?
I wasn't thinking. Maybe I was remembering?
The relentlessness of the project didn't stop there. So much of the film is concerned with the dichotomy of the Marilyn Monroe we all saw on screen and the troubled Norma Jean in private moments. Director Andrew Dominik had to be a little sneaky to fully capture that essence.
He had this thing that he actually never cut in between takes. So, you know, a lot of the moments in the film where I'm just like processing between one take and the next one, or getting my hair fixed, or my dialect coach coming in to give me a note, all of that is on film. There are moments in the movie where that happens. He dressed the crew with, on period clothes, so he would have that freedom of let the camera follow me around set.
This means that De Armas had to know the part well enough to improvise between takes and be both Marilyn and Norma Jean even in her most quiet moments.
She doesn't have any well-being. She's only a career.
Apart from ghostly consultations and non-stop shooting, De Armas also did her own research to perfect her physical transformation into the bombshell. Dominik gave her a 750-page book containing what he believed to be a photograph of every single facial expression Monroe ever made. De Armas' careful study of this Bible explains why she nails so many of the movie's iconic and uncanny shot-for-shot remakes of famous photo spreads.
Take me in your sang of love just as she lived for love.
And in order to sound the part, De Armas underwent rigorous voice training and dialect coaching to not only cover up her Cuban accent, but to also nail the nuances of Monroe's trademark purr.
Her accent itself was all over the place. Her voice was consistent.
In watching the film, you see that it's not just one affectation. Listen to how the voice evolves from talking to the former athlete who wants a traditionally feminine Marilyn.
No, just if I had any brains, I wouldn't be on this crummy train with this crummy girls band.
To a more mature voice when she's trying to impress the intellectual playwright.
The one they laugh at because her dress is the wrong color. Except with Magda, it's the way she speaks English.
To a haggard Norma Jean worn out from the demands of fame.
Marilyn Monroe will not be coming in today to impersonate and demean herself, and you will have to shoot around her.
The amount of code switching is extraordinary. And while it's not always perfect accent work, you can feel the emotion and effort dripping from every line.
Some of them love Marilyn, some of them hate Marilyn. What's that got to do with me?
De Armas is breathtaking in this performance, and her hard work shows in every frame. So it's surprising to know that a huge part of her process involved leaning into her own insecurity.
I felt insecure. I was scared. I felt the pressure. I felt observed, judged, or at least that's what was going on in my head. And every time when I was struggling with that, Andrew would come to me and tell me, that's it. Go with it, because that is literally what she's going through.
If this sounds familiar, it's because this method of using a real-life experience to inform your performance is ripped straight from the teachings of Lee Strasberg, Monroe's own acting coach. Between the lived experience of feeling unworthy and doing it anyway, the countless hours of research, molding one's body and mind to fit a very specific shape, and everything else that went into Blonde, it starts to seem that De Armas, Marilyn, and Norma Jean end up having more in common than not. And so in spite of the world's initial misgivings, De Armas proves in the end that she is a natural blonde.